Hello, beautiful souls. I hope you guys are having an amazing week.
Oh,
Sorry.
look, thank you. Shala,
Okay, there we go. Oh my gosh, I'm so happy to be here. Give me just 1 second to, here we are.
hello.
Here's our live. Welcome everybody on YouTube, everybody in the Zoom. Let me quickly share this just one moment so that I can make sure everyone can join us. Very good. Hello, Mafona, Star Templar, Jason, welcome. Happy Sunday. Great to see you. Let me come over here and in the Zoom. Thank you for joining me, guys. All right. Well, how's everybody been? How's everyone's week been going? It's such an honor to be here and connecting with you today. I have a lot I need to talk about because there's a lot coming through right now for this end of the year and end of the month. Nick says, had an intense dream about spirit wearing a cape with stars on it. Wow, that's beautiful. That's really interesting. Love that. Yeah, so we got to talk a lot about some of these transition and energies that we're moving through, and they're very strong, and I'm sure you guys are already feeling them and experiencing them. And we really want to understand how to integrate them because I want to talk about what's coming in the next year. And I'll do like a more dedicated overview on this when we get closer to New Year's. I'm planning a really exciting event, hypnotherapy, which will include hypnotherapy to clear out the year and to begin to align with the frequencies of the new year. And that'll be in January. So look out for that if you want to join me. But essentially, you see the things that are changing right now are happening at a cellular level, at the DNA level, and it's going to take about a year. This year, 2026 and 2027 are going to be paramount in the changing of the collective human race. The human race is changing. It's not just a few individuals. We are all changing genetically at the core, and one of the things that I was shown, especially this past week in deep meditation, a lot of really important elements that we have to focus on for this transition point. And they're important to share because not realizing those can cause a lot of perhaps blockage and stress and confusion. And all of this is for your benefit. All of everything that you guys are experiencing through your transition point to your healing and clearing. It's for the evolution of your soul. It is so that you remember that you are all and nothing simultaneously in a loving, incremental way, at your pace, right? It's at your pace, depending on how you're willing, how deep you're willing to go, how much you're willing to shed, how much you're willing to allow. Essentially, how much you're willing to love is what it really comes down to. And your ability to love in a very profound way is something that will catalyze your experience just as a whole. And that's what we want. We want to have kind of like a catalyst, which then biologically changes the structure of your entire being. Okay, so it's kind of like we're preparing to learn to embody love. And it's going to be the first time in all of this 200,000 year cycle that we are going to be embodying that. Okay, because right now we're in year 9, which is the last year of this previous period. Next year, in 1 month, 1.5 months or less, is the beginning of the new era. Okay. And when we talk about that, what we're doing is we're moving. So the universe is moving in spiral motion. We're moving from one octave to the next. That's a really big deal. So we want to talk about what happens biologically when that happens. A lot changes because the same organisms that are vibrating and operating at one vibrational frequency, they have to change in order to adapt to this new era, to the new wave of frequency. Okay. So there's a lot of changes that are going to be happening that are necessary for you, mind, body, and soul. And it doesn't mean we're going to change our anatomy completely or anything like that. But in the etheric realms, your anatomy is changing. Your etheric anatomy is changing. Your access to your field is changing. How you are, so I should specify your access to the field is changing. Okay, because many of us have been in a dormant state for such a long time where we completely forget the non-physical element of our human expression. And in reality, we are massive beings of light. We are constructs of energy, entire energy creating systems of energy and life force. And so when we forget that, we come back to the material, we come back to the physical, we get attached, all of our energy systems start to move really slow and stagnant. And so the opposite of that is for us to move freely through energy. Okay, so that requires a certain preparation. It's the same preparation that's been taught in all the ancient mystery schools for generations and generations. None of that is new, but it's rather, it's what has been talked about for many, many centuries, from many ancient civilizations that have prepared us for this time. Okay, so all the ancient mystery schools that have given us the beautiful groundwork, the structures of the body. They've been depicted in the practices of ancient Egypt, where we used to practice death. We used to practice entering into the death realm, right? By doing dark meditations, activating the pineal gland, activating the violet light in the body. So this is activation of the higher octaves of the multidimensional body, and all of these realms that are within our body, all of these dimensional access points in the body are becoming absolutely accessible to all of you. And so the invitation really is for you to work with these systems consciously, lucid, in a very lucid, conscious way, so that you are aware of what you're experiencing, why you're experiencing what you're going through. And so, lucidity is the key. In the implementation of lucidity in your waking state is what will help you navigate all of the shifts. Okay, because how these shifts are occurring, they're happening in layers of frequency. Remember, I mentioned that through a year, we go from different intensities of shifts for humanity. It's incremental. Okay. So next month, next year is going to be very intense. It's going to be very intense energetically because as we are entering into this new shift, a lot of things are pushing us towards a new paradigm, a new societal structure. And so we have to readjust all of our subconscious belief systems. We have to readjust our beliefs, our attachments to the old construct that no longer serves humanity, in order to gently move into this and also hold space for a higher octave for civilization. Because the alternative of that is that we are going to go through a timeline that is quite challenging for humanity and for you individually, which is what matters the most, is that you as a creator, you are very sovereign in your creations and you're very aware of what and why you are creating what you're creating. So yeah, I want to share a little bit about that, and I'm just gonna open here. I'm gonna open this meditation, open this presentation. Guess let's do an overview on this. Okay, so I've been receiving a lot of information this week. I mean, I can't so much, and what I'm receiving is primarily about a certain archetype that we're really needing to revisit. Okay, and so this is for everyone, that you guys that are working with your archetypal memories, archetypal informations, and as we're reaching the end of this year, we're being shown pretty heavy archetypes that need to be shed. Okay, so whatever is being triggered in your life right now, the invitation is to end those cycles. And one of the cycles that has been coming up a lot this week is the archetype of the victim. Okay. This is a very powerful archetype. It's a very interesting and very important archetypal role that we all play in our lives. And what is needing to heal at the end of this year is really the victim archetype, because basically the message that I'm getting is like, if you believe you're a victim, you will be. Okay. Because again, through resonance and through vibrational frequency, the creative potential of life experiences is extremely powerful. Okay. And I want to share again consciousness levels, that when we're at the level of consciousness of the survivor, okay, and the victim, the one that has no power, that believes they have no power. You see, we're a very young civilization. We're just getting used to the concept of power. Okay, the way that we've been using power has been very primitive. It's about control. It's about power over. It's about this idea. And the new energetic model is infinite potential. Okay, so whereas before power is very finite, very limited, it's using, accumulating certain resources in order to have power over this certain group of people. It's a very limited, very, very primitive, very immature use of energy, the kind of power in which we have been kind of swimming in for the last few hundred years. And what we're entering into is the power of energy, the mastery of life force, which is a very subtle, refined energy, that the movement and allocation of life force is a power that humans have not seen. They've seen it maybe in, you can see it in movies like Star Wars, for example, with Jedis, right? Jedis that have the ability to move things with their mind and to speak and to heal the body, all kinds of things. This kind of movement of life force is going to be the new way of managing power. And so for those of you that have been in meditation and been activating your intuition, your telepathy, we had an amazing telepathy class this week. By the way, if you guys want to join next month, it's really fun, and everyone has telepathic abilities. Everyone has the ability to tune into that. So if you want to practice, definitely join the group. But these kinds of abilities that are very easily available to us is going to be the new language of the new generation. It's going to be the new currency. Okay. So whereas before it was money or monetary exchange, right? Very, very simple. I give you this, you give me this. We are now moving larger scopes of energy, larger scopes of information, right? Because we're also entering into a higher octave of technology. And that means that the information that's being processed is faster, it's broader, heavier, fuller, more complete. And as we incrementally, our civilization, the human race and our genetic lineage, as we continue to evolve, that will only grow in its capacity. Why? Because the more you cultivate your non-physical connection, the more expanded and the more information you are able to process through your body. Okay, that's the whole point of becoming conductive, bioelectrical. The more bioelectrical you become, the more you're able to process many ranges of frequencies, not just certain ones, right? The more contracted you become, it's very limited the kind of energies that you can process. You only want to process a certain range of frequencies, emotional frequencies, and so on. So understand that any archetype that you hold on to or you adopt to as a mindset is a limitation of your expanded range of capacity. And that is really important as the new human that we are now forming, which is a multidimensional master of many ranges of information. So if you're in a victim mindset, which makes you see yourself and the other as separate, or we go into judgment, or we go into this compartmentalization of yourself and others, it's not going to go great, because we are contracting our energy, and the consequences of that are going to become more physical as we move forward. This takes me to the second topic, because what does that mean? Okay, this is really important, guys. Because the implementation of these kinds of limited archetypes is going to manifest in the physical body in a way that it will affect your health, it'll affect your ability to move life force. And when I say this, I'm saying it not for you to adopt it as a victim, as another victim mindset or idea, but rather to be aware that you are coming into a more empowered state. Sorry, let me silence this quickly. Because the expanded state would be able to move through any challenge, any experience consciously. Okay, and so what does that mean? This is something that I've been teaching you guys here for a very long time, but a very deep connection to your physical body, a deep connection to your emotions, emotional mastery, intuitive training, your training of your intuitive capacities are absolutely essential in learning how to move this level of frequency. And the whole point of teaching all of these things is so that we understand how to move energy in a compassionate way with our bodies. So as soon as we start to have programs that are limiting our creativity, programs that are contracted, emotional contraction, emotional stagnation, inability to process emotions. I've said for quite a couple years now that incrementally, the way that you process emotions is going to become more physical. Okay, so if you don't release them and learn how to release, they're going to become more intense in the body. And so the intensity of these emotions will have a more physical effect. What I see as potential timelines is that a lot of people are going to be leaving at this cycle. Okay. And when I see that, one of the things that was shown to me in my meditation this morning is that it's really important that we learn how to transcend the fear of death as a human race, because we are entering into a new era of humanity that will push us into an entire different structure of humanity, which we've not seen before. And a lot of things have to go through the process of dying in order to rebirth that. Okay, so it's not just the physical death that we're talking about, but thought program death, emotional uh, ancestral traumas. Things have to come to an end. And 2026 is going to be instrumental in the clearing of the DNA pool of some of these older programs. And it starts with you. It starts with you and the work that you're doing. I'm going to open up a presentation. Give me just 1 minute. Let me get that for us. Okay, so here is, let me try to find what I'm looking for here because okay, let's start with this. Okay. We are going through a shift in frequency in the following way. The universe is constantly spiraling. Okay. And let me start with this. I can't find the slide that I was looking to share with you, but I'm going to show you similar slides. Because this construct, everything is operating on a dualistic nature, our universe is part of an expansive model of energy. Okay, so all living organisms in this universe are kind of learning how to come back into order, coming back into some kind of balanced state. And that's what we want to focus on at this time. Coming into a balanced state of energy, coming into a balanced state of frequency. Now, when we look at the physical body and how we are moving through the energy system of this grid, this energy grid, um, as you know, we are alchemizing any contracted energy because as we move into this new octave, everything will be expanding. And what does that mean for the body, for the structure of the body? Is that it's becoming more complex. It's becoming more complex in its geometric structure. Genetically, what does that look like? It means that our DNA is essentially activating. And I talked about this. We are going from the normal, two-strand DNA to, four. But then etherically, the body is opening up to 21 dimensional planes. And so what that looks like essentially is that all the information, your body is a fractal of this gigantic universal system, this solar system as well as the universe. But the activation of your DNA is essentially expanding into these new pools of information. So every single human that is moving through this energy at this time, that has contracted energies, is affected by the movements of the planet in the solar system. And the more you are attached to these programs, to these belief systems, the more difficult it's going to be to move through those transition points. Now, when I talk about death, which is really important, the transcending of the programs of death, you see, you as a beautiful cell of this universe, you are clearing and eliminating these stagnant belief systems. And every planet, every star, every solar system is a conscious living organism, just like you and I. They are also going through this evolutionary transition point. Okay, and it's really important to understand that because what's affecting each of these planets is oscillating at a certain vibrational frequency, a certain vibrational archetype, just like we are. Every single one of these planets that processes certain frequency, it's affecting our physical body. So wherever you are having blocked energy in your body, I want you to pay attention because this is connected to your energy system. It's connecting to a much deeper, more complex information system because your body is self-similar to the entire universe. And so a good way for you to notice is that, first of all, I mentioned our body is divided in quadrants, right? So we have the right and the left of the body. The right is the masculine, the left is the feminine. And this, at a very deep level, is the way that we manage our feminine and masculine energy. Let's break that down a little bit, because when I say that, I think we might be confused about what that actually means, the feminine and masculine energy, because we have all kinds of programming about what that's supposed to look like, what that's supposed to be. So for a good reference point, masculine think of the masculine as the one that is the giver, right? It is seeding life. And so that giving is a very active movement. It's action oriented for creation. And so it is when you have problems with your masculine, you can begin to understand that you have problems with actions, with movements, with implementing the into manifestation things. Okay, seeding things as a result of actions that are being taken, movement of energy. And then, of course, this is layered very subtly with intentions, which starts going into the feminine, and intuition and guidance, and the driving force behind that movement. Okay, the direction in which that force of that movement is going is the feminine. Why? Because the feminine is the intuition. Okay, so let's talk about the intuitive. The feminine is the womb, right? It's the one that receives and seeds and gestates life. It grows. It multiplies the cells into the creation of an entire new organism. And so that gestation process we can experience in many different ways. But the intuitive connection to that divine, because the insemination process, the gestation process, it's a powerful energy. I mean, one of the most powerful energies is in your body the moment that you create a life. But we use that same life force. That's why our sexual energy is the most powerful source of energy for men and women. And we can actually gather the energy of those sexual organs instead of depleting it in an orgasmic state, for example, to heal the body. Or we can use that energy to connect deeper and activate our higher abilities. These are very ancient practices that have been used for a long time. And so in order to clear the pathways in which you can use this pure form energy, because now we're talking about love. We are talking about pure love, pure creative potential. The ability to harness that energy and move through the body would require a very clean vessel, which means the neutralizing of any blockages that limit the flow of that creative potential. Okay, so our creative potential can be blocked through the feminine and it can be blocked through the masculine. In the greater picture of things, this is also true for the organism of consciousness called the solar system, and it's also true for the universe. Okay, so the universe in which we exist is operating by the construct in which, through our perception, the construct of duality. And so there's order and chaos that exists within everything, and yet there is a harmonic order that when these things come into balance, there's always balances, checks and balances in this universe that brings everything back into that harmonic order. So as we enter into these next couple of years, it's going to be very important for us to reprogram our subconscious belief system from the finite dualistic perception into a more infinite perception of co-creation and cycling and use of life force. When we are not okay with death, when we are fearing death, we immediately embody survival mechanisms. And the survival mechanism of your body is not just affecting psychological thoughts, it's affecting biological, it's affecting every aspect of your body in very deep ways. It affects the organs of the body. It affects how we move bioelectrically in the body. It affects the frequencies that we are most running through the body. And it also affects the frequencies that we can access through the body. Okay, because a person that is oscillating in a state of survival and fear will have the lower chakra systems quite enlarged. And it's like trying to fit a square into a circle, right? So let's say these frequencies of this new era are a circle. If you're a square, it's going to be hard for you to fit through that, right? So your energy body is a beautiful, complex instrument of light, of energy. You are not just this physical body that you believe you are. You are an entire energy system. And your mastery over understanding how to move energy, rapidly through the body, clearing the body in a way that you can transmute energy, is essential to understanding the mastery of death. Okay. And why death, understanding and transcending the fear of death is important, because it's also going to be the opening of the empowering of your lucidity and dream state. This weekend, I was part of a fantastic conference that I really invite you to check out if you haven't checked it out, about near-death experiences. I talk about my near-death experience, and I also talk about the effects of that. And one of the elements of my presentation was to talk about the contractual experiential agreements. What that near-death experience taught me was that, essentially there is no death. There's no death at all. But we do manifest experiences that lead us to have these kinds of experiences in order for us to revisit our values and whether those values are aligned with the harmonic order, with the universe. And when our values come out of alignment, we need to realize that your values are the way you hold energy in your body. Okay, it's literally how you are structured and energetically in the body in the way that is limiting your flow through this universe. Okay, so we can move and alchemize and open these spaces. Now, how do we learn to transcend the fear of death? Which brings me to why I'm talking about this when I talked about the archetype of the victim, that the more we cling on to the archetypal role of the victim, the more we will manifest potential experiences of death or annihilation in a way that feels uncomfortable. Because to understand that you are infinite potential, it requires a shift in your frequency. And that shift in frequency changes your perception psychologically, the way that you perceive yourself and all matter and things around you. So this is something that I really invite you to work on in the next couple, weeks as you come into this new year. And essentially, you can reach a point in which you no longer fear these states of transmutation. And the fear of death is shifted when we become powerful alchemists of energy, of life force. Okay, so as you can see, the more that you are in survival, the more the material things are your attachment. They are essentially it's your God, it's your master. Your master is the material. And as you move up this scale and you come into the levels of co-creator or expanded states of awareness and spirit, you're much less identified with identity. You're less identified with matter, less identified with any finite structures, constructs, into pure knowing, into creation. So this pure knowing, it's pure energy, pure life force. But again, we have to train our bodies to become higher conductive movers of energy in order to access a state of consciousness that is able to process pure knowing. Okay, so let's talk about that. And then we're going to get into the meditation so we can implement some of those things. Preparing the body to move light. Number one, you need to learn how to master your first three chakras, okay? Your first three chakras are your exchange systems with the material physical world. Everything, your relationships, manifestations of life experiences, and the physical. Okay, so if you find right now, if you take a look at your body right now and take a look at which one of your chakras is overactive right now or most active in your body, it's going to tell you exactly creator state where you're at psychologically. Okay. So really general example, if your root chakra is overactive and wide open, chances are you have a lot of lower body issues. You can have back pain, intestinal blockages, digestive issues. Your sense of security is lost. You don't feel safe. You don't feel secure. Just some examples. And essentially, again, your attachment then becomes the physical material world because you need something to hold on to. You need someone, something external to you to provide that sense of security. Okay. So the alchemization of that program would be to shift that. Okay. So number one, learn how to quiet your chakras, control your chakras back into a grounded state, a neutral state. And you can do that by shrinking them, as you know. So when you shrink your chakras, you can really clearly feel the difference immediately. Okay, so, and this is a great practice for those of you that are conscious when you get angry, like something triggers you and you get angry, and your body just wants to take control, right? You just want to blurt out, or you want to yell or do something. Your chakras, if you were to close them in that moment, immediately those intense emotions would quiet down. It's a very powerful practice. And I don't invite you to do this in order to suppress or bypass your emotions. Very important. But this is something that I would love for you to explore in understanding how much control we have over our emotional system and our body. The lack of control over the system and the body causes major chaos. Okay? Because if we continue to feel that anger and we play out that anger in a destructive manner, for example, without conscious awareness, it's just it's the representation of how unconscious we are and incompassionate we are of our body. Okay? So it's necessary for us to identify the trigger point and probably with practice in the time of the trigger you can alchemize yourself. But if you're not able to do that in meditation, when you revisit this moment of anger, that you begin to understand the many layers of emotions that you are storing in your body, which are simply being triggered and repeated for your whole life. You've been repeating these emotions all your life. The more angry and the more powerful your response gets, the more you have that programmed and repetition, that reinforcement in your body. And so that is an entire restructuring of the chakra system that binds your life force. Okay. So if you're a person that can't process anger or can't process your heavy emotions, your principal energy you're not going to have much to transmute into pure life force through the heart. You're not going to have much to transmute into spiritual energy, right? And remember, these lower emotions are quite heavy. They're quite dense. And again, over time, the repetition of the emotions, they crystallize in the physical body, in the fascia, in the muscle system, in the organs, and eventually into sicknesses, pain, and eventually death. This process is going to speed up in the same way that higher octave connections are speeding up in the next 2 coming years. By 2027, the restructuring of the human genetic system will be completely different because we will have multiplied our capacity to process frequencies through the organism of the body. And if we are not learning how to process those emotions, these seemingly primitive emotions, primitive ways we process and these emotions, it'll be very self-destructive for you in your body. Okay, so the next 2 years, my loves, are so important, and it's exciting, and it's something that will change humanity. And prepare us for experiencing something completely different that hasn't been experienced on this planet in a very, very long time. Okay, and this is us coming into a new, an advanced civilization. We are becoming an advanced civilization as we mature into a more conscious energy beings that are managing higher realms of information through the body, integrating those higher realms of information. So let's talk about the higher octave activation of the capacities that will be available to you in the coming years. Okay. The mastery and transcending of the fear of death will allow you to access navigation in higher dimensions in a very easy way. Okay. We will be able to heal more quickly the body energetically. And so energy medicine is going to be the next frontier. It's the future of of humanity. So every single one of you is a healer. And I don't say that because it's like a grand mission you all have to adopt. It's just part of the construct of the human. The human is a healer. It's innately a creator, and a creation is creating life, life force. From life comes the infinite regeneration capacity into the organism. And that is health. That's that equates to health. Right. So understanding regenerative energy systems through your body and channeling higher octave awareness through the body is what we can use to redirect energy to rebalance the body. And all health is coming back once again to the 0 point, which is a balanced state, right? It's the balanced state of the all. It is what emerges when the two positive, negative energies merge in order to produce the child. That is the creator. You are the creator, and you are creating yourself. You are birthing yourself first. On the genetic level, what that creative potential, the alchemization, is doing is that it's beginning to activate DNA, your holographic DNA, the construct of your DNA, into a 12-strand, 24-strand DNA structure, which means every single DNA strand connects to a dimensional layer of your body, and you are able to access into those dimensional layers of the body every single night in dream state. Where you are going is important, but what's more important is how much you remember and the lucidity that you have in those experiences. Okay, so let's get into the meditation, and yeah, I'm gonna dive right in. Go ahead and allow yourself to get really nice and comfortable. Breathing deeply. Go ahead and allow yourself to ground down to the center of the earth. Come fully into your body, breathing deeply. Go ahead and visualize your sphere around your body as you become aware of your energetic field. And as you visualize this beautiful field around your body, making sure there are no openings in your energy system. Close your bubble all around you. You are at the center of that bubble, wherever you are. If you're seated, you can see the bubble through the furniture. You can see it behind you, in front of you, top and bottom. go ahead and allow ourselves to focus on the root chakra at the base of the spine. Go ahead and shrink the root chakra down to the size of a dime as we come into reading state. Shrink the sacral chakra down to the size of a dime. Breathing. Go up to your solar plexus as you shrink it down to the size of a dime. Disconnecting any imbalances of the solar plexus. Breathing. You go up into your heart, expanding the heart front and back, opening the center of unconditional love. Going up into the throat, expanding the throat, opening the center of communication, balance. Go up into the third eye, expanding your intuition, opening your vision into the field. Just notice what changed in your body as you allow yourself to come into reading state. Your intuition should be heightened at this moment. You're going to go up into your crown, expanding the crown chakra. The crown being one of the most important energy systems of manifestation in your body. Allow yourself to visualize expanding the crown. You're going to fill the crown with your creative color. Your crown chakra is your center of manifestation, and it's your higher self. You want to wake up your higher self, your connection, your awareness of the higher self as yourself as the higher self. Go ahead and fill it in with your creative color, and we're going to align our higher self with our career, with our relationships, love, health, vitality, creation, creativity, money, abundance, our truth and our spiritual work, and finally your purpose. Fill it in. We're going to begin to run energy. I want you to pull as if you're drinking from your legs. Your legs as straws are absorbing the earth energy up your legs, up into your solar plexus, creating a vortex of energy at your center core. Notice how the energy is moving around your body. If it feels like it only goes halfway, or it's really sluggish or slow, this is basically indicating to you how much debris we have in our energy body. Okay? Remember, your energy body is like millions of toroidal energy systems, each one of your chakra being a toroidal energy system, and they become polluted with thought forms, emotions, stagnant thoughts, basically becoming the blocks of your energy. From source, go ahead and pull down a powerful wave of gold cosmic energy down from the crown of your head, combining with the green earth energy. You're going to mix beautiful green and gold at your center core, cosmic and earth energy through your body. Go ahead and take 10% of this combination back down to the center of the earth. Allow that life force to move down to the center of the earth, healing the earth as well as healing your body. Go ahead and take 80% of that earth and cosmic energy up your spine from the crown of your head, coating the outside of your bubble. Go ahead and release any cords to people, places, and things that you're attached to that no longer serve you. Calling back your life force into your body. Go ahead and take that final 10% of green and gold energy, bring it inside of your body. allowing yourself to absorb this cosmic and earth energy through the flesh, muscles, the cells of the body. Go ahead and feel that all that energy rotating through your body, green and gold, down to the center of the earth. And we're going to clear our energetic space. We're going to start at the front of the body, from the crown of the head down to the base of the feet. You're going to sweep your bubble, your field. You're going to clear all 13 layers of the body, front to back and back to front, all the way around. Notice the parts of your body that feel energetically heavier to clear. And just move through. You can use your imagination to make it easier, visualizing it's being vacuumed, suctioned down to the center of the earth, or you're wiping or perhaps dissolving, whatever it is that feels stagnant in your energy body. And allow yourself now to clear all your chakra system. We're going to start with the root chakra at the base of the spine. Visualize that you're clearing that chakra until it's crystalline. And remember that the chakras, it's as if they have, you can say petals, in which you'll notice that the chakra contracts in the parts of the chakra that are blocked. Okay, so expand the chakras, even though you're keeping it shrunk and closed. Clean the energy system of the chakra. Okay, so you can imagine from the chakra, you're pulling upward, clearing all 360 around the entire chakra system, all the debris until it's completely fluid and open. In the root, let's go up to the sacral. So again, you're not opening the chakra yet, you're just clearing out the energy blockages in those chakras. Okay. Breathing. Up into the solar, sacral, and the solar chakra. Do the same. And go up into your heart, clearing blockages in the heart chakra. Go up to the throat, clearing blockages in the throat chakra. And go up into your third eye. Go ahead and clear the blockages in the third eye. Very good. Start working in the emotional body. I want you to observe the strongest trigger in the past 24 hours, and you're going to bring it up in your body. I want you to notice if we play the victim role in any of these trigger points. And if you find that you do, just go ahead and locate that victim part of us. Allow yourself to be absolutely present. And just take a look at that victim part of you and notice what kind of programs it's playing out in order to protect itself. That little victim part of you. What programs do you play out in your relationships, in your life, in order to protect? Your belief is that you protect a certain part of yourself. So first, I want you to observe what those dynamics are. How do you use this archetypal part of you in order to survive your life, your relationships, even your hopes and your dreams? Sometimes we might be using that archetype to excuse ourselves from achieving certain things or doing certain things even that we say we love. And just take a look at that little part of you, your little victim archetype, and what does it believe it's doing by playing out this role? What does it need? What's the need of this little archetypal part of you? And what is it avoiding? What does it believe it's avoiding by playing out this archetype? Go ahead and notice, why does it fear what it's avoiding? Why does it fear that? And I want you to go back into the earliest time that you had that fear about what it is you're avoiding with this archetype. Take yourself back to the very first time where you play out the program of why the victim archetype is something we absolutely must hold on to. You can go as far back in the womb, childhood, infancy. Take a look at yourself as you go back to that moment where you first recognize the awareness of this victim archetype and the role that it would play. Just observe the values that were built around this archetypal element in ourselves, perhaps in our parents, in our society, in our environment. In some cultures, this archetype is valued. In some religions, it's valued. And I want you to take a look at that part of you, that little fragile part of you that is holding on to this victim archetype. What would the opposite state of being look like? Just observe all the programs, the defense mechanisms that it's built around this archetypal state of being. What would the opposite actually look like? What would we be embracing? Sometimes we discover that we might be afraid of responsibility, afraid of our power, afraid of truth, afraid of living, afraid of acting, afraid of loving. These are some of the most powerful initiation points that you have had in many of your lifetimes. And just observe how these archetypal behaviors have been passing down your generations, your ancestral lineage. How have they affected your ancestral lineage from rising, from succeeding, from healing, from knowing, from connecting, and especially creating? And you might discover that maybe most have been using it as protection. And so, question is, how do you feel safe in attaining what you truly are, in embodying what you are, who you are? How do you feel safe in truth? How do you feel safe in vulnerability? How do you feel safe in communication and expression? How do you feel safe in your creations? How do you feel safe in your power? Each one of you might have a different key element that you're working on. As you allow yourself to see what it is you need to alchemize this. Remember that you are the source of your needs. And when you redirect your power from the external to the internal, you are truly powerful. You are truly a creator. And allow yourself to see all the fractals of yourself that have suffered these victim archetypes throughout your life. Take a look at how much they've suffered as a result of this archetypal attachment. I want you to provide them everything that they need in order to no longer believe they have to embody this victim. You can select a color that represents these complex understandings. For example, if you notice you need to feel safe with your power, you need to be okay with your power in this lifetime. Perhaps the color of that safety is trust. Perhaps it's a self-trust, a profound self-trust in your divine. And that looks like a purple or a blue or an indigo. You're going to go ahead and fill all your fractals with this frequency, encoding every cell of their body into an understanding of who they are, a remembering. You're going to feel your body releasing tension as you integrate this into all your fractals, and you're going to feel your body here and now with the same color. Allow yourself to shift to this new frequency. Go ahead and merge all your fractals into one. You're going to inhale deeply, taking them into your body. You're going to see all your ancestors, your family, your friends, whoever participated in these experiences directly in front of you. You're going to see a cord connecting you to them. This cord represents the old dynamics, the old cords. You're going to cut them on their end. I want you to pull them out of your body, connect them up to source, calling back your life force into your body and releasing what does not belong to you. I want you to see your house of your soul. And you're going to go into the first room where you hold all your karmic contracts. Go ahead and enter into that room, shine your light, and I want you to delete all of those karmic contracts. Clean that karmic contract room out completely. Using your crown, shining your crown on top of all of those contracts, clearing them up. Go ahead and fill that room with your creative color. You're going to go into the next room. You're going to see all of your little shadows in there, all the shadows that don't have our best interest. Go ahead and eliminate those shadows. And fill that room with your creative color. You're going to break the karmic contracts with these people. We're going to begin to work with our crown chakra, your seventh chakra in the crown, expanding your crown. Going into the eighth, activating your eighth chakra, your ninth, 10th, 11th, 12th, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, and 24. And above you is a powerful white light, a source. Go ahead and bring your source cord like a pillar of light down the center core of your body. And maintain that source cord nice and whole and complete down through the perineum into the center of the earth. I want you to see your toroidal field spinning, moving fluidly around you. You're going to begin to open the root chakra back into a balanced state. The sacral, the solar, bringing the heart back into a balanced state, the throat into a balanced state, the third eye back into a balanced state. Allow yourself to activate your chakra underneath your feet, your second chakra underneath your feet, and your third. You're going to see a pillar of white light through the center core of your belly, out through your back. Go and allow yourself to be completely grounded in your body. Amazing. And you can open your eyes and come back into the room. I want to thank you so much for joining me today. It was an honor, as always, to share this time and space with you. You guys are amazing. I highly honor you for spending the time to do this work with me. It truly means the world. And yeah, I'm going to take a few minutes to answer some questions. So let me jump into the chat here. I hope that meditation was helpful for you. Please put your questions in capital letters so that I can see them. I'm over here. Let's go into Victoria Mayers. Oh, beautiful Victoria. Thank you so much. Why are we anchoring new energy blueprint at this specific time? And why through alchemy versus just incarnating that way? Yeah, so you are incarnated that way. What's happening is that because we are entering into a higher octave, the entire universe is moving at a faster rate. Your body is catching up to that, right? The physical vessel, and the physical is holding your consciousness, your awareness, and that awareness has been dormant for a long time. You have to catch up your awareness to the truth of your multidimensionality. And so for the majority of people, they've been quite disconnected from their multidimensionality, right? We are not taught that. We're actually taught to stay away from our multidimensionality, from anything spooky activity, right? And to not trust our intuitive guidance. And so that's the inversion of the divine feminine, and it's stepping away from natural order. And we've gone through an entire cycle in which we've experienced that. Now we are coming back to an experience in which the divine feminine is healing, and we are reconnecting with our intuition. We're reconnecting with our intuitive abilities, and the non-physical realm is now, we're entering an era of non-physical awareness, non-physical mastery. Okay, so we've always had this, okay? And there have been many, all the ancient mystery schools are based on this understanding, and they've been taught, and we've been teaching and learning from these ancient mystery schools all of these techniques because it's part of our architecture, right? So there are some people in this planet that are currently operating at this state. They're already ready. They're already able to move through these new energies quite fluidly. Okay, but the majority of humanity is going to be catching up to that. So thank you so much, Victoria, for that question. Jason, thank you so much for the super chat. Greatly appreciate that. Thank you for being here. Obscenescence says, hi everyone, happy Sunday. Geraldine, do you recommend Robert Monroe hemisync sessions? Thank you for all you do. Thank you, Divine Love. I do. I think that they are helpful, but to be honest, I was able to achieve what Robert Monroe is teaching using hemisync without hemisync for pretty much the majority of my practice in my life, in my experiences. So I know for a fact that we can access these abilities without that. Okay, it's a tool, it's a great tool, but I believe, and I'm a very strong believer in really activating our natural technology. Okay, and I'm really serious about that because even though I talk about the Monroe Institute and I share a lot of his information, because it's the same, we touch on a lot of the same information. The reality is that it is absolutely paramount that we activate the sides of our brain and our capacities organically. Okay, not with artificial intelligence, not with robotic attachments, not with technologies, because it's the activation of those abilities organically is the restructuring of your energy body. It is the growing of gray matter in the brain. You cannot take shortcuts on the restructuring of the spiritual biology system. Okay, so we've been told spirituality is this etheric world, but the new science that I'm here to share with you guys, which is not new information necessarily, is the integration into the biology, because actually the entire energetic body is restructured when we practice these abilities organically. Okay, because your sacred geometry, and at the DNA level, it's the activation of DNA. So it's a much deeper it's a deeper awareness that your spirituality is not just in the mind and in this non-physical realm. It's very much the rebuilding of your entire genetic system. That is what's happening now, and that's what we need to focus on. So yeah, so that's my opinion, but definitely use it if it helps you. Jay Zen, great to see you. Much love. Mafona, so much love. Thank you so much for this super chat. So generous. I love you. Thank you. You guys are amazing. I can't thank you enough. Alchemist Alexander, thank you so much. So much love. Thank you for being here. You're the sun. Thank you deeply. Love you. You're the sun too. PJS says, Geraldine, how do we do practice this work when we have a parent who is active in domestic violence at home, both me and mom? Yeah, I'm so sorry that you're experiencing this, PJ. So, there's a couple things to work with this. First of all, your internal work and your internal healing of your internal boundary system and strength and clarity on how to come back into harmonic order, you will create opportunities for you to shift this life experience. Okay, whether that's an opportunity to leave home or to change things. The breaking of karmic contracts is absolutely essential to your experience right now. Okay, so when we're in the thick of this kind of traumatic experiences, we really need to work with karmic contracts. I want you to break karmic contracts with each of your parents. This is something we should all be doing, because The breaking of karmic contracts doesn't mean breaking of relationships. It means neutralizing of contractual experiential energy and the repetition of that. So as you clear those out, you're going to open up new energy. The opening of energy is opening of timelines, and it's opening of new energetic potential. Okay. And so it's important for you to clear those contractual agreements with each of your parents, cutting cords daily. Okay. And learning how to cloak energetically as well. When we utilize the body of glass energetically, this is something that you can perhaps share with mom as well. You know, that's really important. But these are things that we need to implement in our family system. You know, you as being the conscious aware one here, that you begin to work really proactively with those contractual agreements. And my hope is that you and your mom are able to make the necessary change in order to shift away from that environment, that toxic environment, into safety. Okay. And I'm very familiar with the complexities of that. And you know, there's a lot of support. I'm not sure where you live, but wherever you are, there's a lot of support. There's the domestic violence hotline. There's support for how you can get out of that in a way that is very helpful. Okay, so reach out to me on my website and send me a quick message, and maybe we can talk a little bit more about that. Okay. Because yeah, it's a lot of specific things with that one, with that specific case. Yeah, so DZ Wyke says, I feel empty space before my heart. What is that? Thank you. Excellent. So great. First of all, amazing intuition that you're able to tune into your energy body. And so remember, the chakras are toroidal fields. Okay, they're entire toroidal fields in the body. They look like this. They're vortex points. Imagine this is one vortex, and then the back is another vortex that connects to make a toroidal field around your body. Okay, so what happens is that a lot of times, I mentioned that chakras have like petals. Let's imagine each of these fingers being they're actually vortices. They're micro vortices that build the structure of the chakra. And each one of those vortices has a vibrational frequency range, like the rainbow. You can imagine like hundreds of rainbow spectrums of light and frequency that run through your chakra system. So when these become contracted, or, you know, it contracts the entire toroidal field system in that area of the chakra. So imagine this is one chakra, okay? And so let's say there has been a trauma with our feminine aspect of ourselves, and we don't trust the intuition. So that whole part of this process that manages those frequencies in your chakra body become contracted. So what it's going to feel like when you tune into that chakra is that you're going to feel a void here. You're going to feel a big void in this part of the body energetically, because the energy is not expressing itself fully. When the chakra is fully expressed, you can feel the whole thing. When it's blocked, sometimes it feels like a void, but then really condensed closer to the body. Okay, so pay attention. So when you feel the void, I want you to bring your attention closer to the body, to the chakra next to the body, and just notice how there's a contraction there. Because what's happening is that the heart chakra doesn't want to open all the way. It's contracted. And so what I want you to tune into is, in that void, if you were to sense energetically and emotionally into that void, what emotion is there? That will help you dive into the sub layers of in the quantum field emotionally, to the energy that is being contracted there. Okay, so the void that you feel there, tune into that emotion. And let's say you find despair, you know, loneliness, fear, anxiety. Get down to the root. As you get down to the root, go clear that up, and it's going to start moving that blockage there. Another way to work with that is that you can imagine a picture or an object. It can be a random object, the shape of the block that is not allowing you to expand your heart. And you're going to dissolve that shape. You're going to eliminate it. Okay, so two ways to work. The emotional deprogramming is the deepest and long-standing change. The quick energy work is working with the pictures. And if you need help with that, just reach out. Maybe a DNA reprogramming can help you with something like that a little deeper. Okay. Thank you so much. Are you Basque? Yes, I have Basque lineage. Absolutely. Home for both me and mom. How am I co-creating? How do I change this? Cleaning, using your meditation, all fears and emotions, but we seem to repeat the patterns. Right, right. So in these kind of karmic contractual agreements with family, that's why we need to cut the cords and break the contracts daily. Okay. So you're spot on and you got it. We keep repeating patterns. And also because the whoever is causing the violence is caught in a loop, right? And they are in a repetitive loop, self-destructive loop. And so we can't affect others. They need to wake up their own consciousness at their time, but you can break your vibrational resonance to that and start working on clearing for the family. Because when we have domestic violence like this, we have many generations of that. That's really deep-seated. And for a lot of cultures, this is something it's supposedly common and that it's okay according to their the way that they believe it has to be. And this is incorrect. This is an inversion of order. This is an inversion of power. It's when we were coming into a toxic masculinity and power, exactly what I was talking about at the beginning of this. So what you're experiencing is what we're healing for the entire planet. We're collectively healing that. And it's absolutely essential that the wounds that the men and the women, because there's two parts to this, heals. Okay, so yeah, you're going to play a huge role in that by doing this. He keeps doing it to get a reaction from us, even though I try my best not to let pain body take over. Should I move out? Yeah, so PJ, I would strongly suggest that the answer is yes. Okay. But with that answer comes a lot. I know the intricacies of that can be complex sometimes. So we have to plan ahead. Okay. There's a certain process for how to leave these environments. And it's important that you do that for your safety. Okay. So as I said, message me and I will help you a little bit more with that privately. Okay. Yeah, Lisa Davy, love you. Thank you so much. Lisa Davy, it was something I felt and it scared me at first, thinking it was weird. Oh, here it is. Thank you for explaining the multidimensionality of the truths. Thank you for your sharing. I've always felt each higher chakra you name out to the 23rd. It's scared, felt crazy, but it's true, not new. Excellent. Yeah. So you're absolutely very familiar with this, okay? Amazing. Yeah, you can email me, PJ. Let me come over here, guys. What technology are you referring to that's not organic? Thank you so much. Yeah, so anything, when I talk about not organic technology, I'm talking about anytime that we force, manufacture, spiritual experiences or try to enhance our spiritual evolution or progress or capabilities with an external tool, whatever that is. Okay, so we want to develop from the inside out our spiritual technology because, again, it's a restructuring of many systems in our body, in our mind, in our etheric system. And so, this is something that we want to work on. And it takes time. There's no shortcuts around that. The way that you change your mind, you change your energy system, right? And also your DNA changes, your ancestral lineage changes. So there's no shortcuts to that. So sometimes people that are using psychedelics, they think that they're somehow speeding up their process of connection. But without the proper preparation, you can actually stall your growth and your advancement in very serious ways. Okay, so I see it all the time in my practice. So, just like with the hemisync, learn to develop your own brainwave states. You should be able to do that. That's what we've been practicing because again, the mastery of learning how to bring yourself, shifting your brainwave state, you can go from an accelerated state into an alpha state in a snap of a finger by connecting yourself fully into the body and grounding into the body. That is something that you need to learn. And the lack of learning that is the lack of learning empathy, lack of learning compassion, lack of learning trust, plethora of things that are involved in the cultivation of that little simple action. And so any kind of technology that can develop those things for you, but not having that conscious connection to what you're doing, it's not going to benefit you. So that's what I mean. But anyway, again, I want to thank you so much for everything, guys, for your questions, for your work. Let me see. I have one last question here. Geraldine, how do we manifest and keep a partner aligned like us? I see men my age are operating in first two levels of ego, God, self, power, dominance. Will we stay single? You, me, Eckhart Tolle. I think Eckhart Tolle is married. But yeah, again, it's a resonance thing. And I would strongly suggest to work on all the programming that we have about the need of a partner first, okay? Because if our programming for a partner comes from a need of any kind, whether it's a lack, insufficiency, lack of self-trust, lack of working with yourself, you're going to repeat patterns. So first thing I want you to notice, what's the pattern that you keep repeating with your partners? That's where your homework is at. You need to address those patterns, alchemize that, because that's the healing of yourself. Essentially, we want to become whole selves, hopefully, before you find a partner, because if you find a partner from the half self, you're just going to continue to teach yourself how to be whole through the relationship. Okay, so that's what relationships are for. All right, love you so much, guys. Have an amazing week, and I will see you. Happy Thanksgiving. I hope you guys have an amazing holiday, and I'll see you soon. All my love.